Welcome back to the Deep Digger Sports Pod. I'm your host, Drew. My other host right over there.
What's up? It's D. Good to see you again. Be sure to hit that like button, drop some comments below, let us know your thoughts, and be sure to hit that subscribe button. Subscribe.
And we got our first look at the college football playoff bracket. So let's go and talk about that before we even dig into the rankings and just get, our thoughts right off the top. Here's what it's looking like. Oregon, Georgia, Miami, BYU in the top four spots right here. We got Indiana, Tennessee, Boise State, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Penn State, Bama, Texas, and I believe first one's out, SMU and Texas A&M after that loss. Do you feel good about everyone who's in right here, or do you feel like there's some people who deserve to be in right now?
Well, I know the number 11 spot, that Alabama spot, that is up for grabs this weekend. And realistically, the Georgia spot could be up for grabs. I mean, they're playing Ole Miss this week, and Ole Miss looked much improved last week. They actually put it on a real opponent. And Alabama's playing LSU. That's a winner loses and loser leaves town matchup. I really like that. What are your thoughts on this? How do you feel? Like where are you kind of gravitating towards?
Well, I'm thinking first off, the Bama Texas matchup, if that stood, would be an amazing first round game. And then looking at Boise versus Ohio State, that's a game that I feel like Boise could potentially win. And then if you sneak your way past that game, you face a BYU team who's not like this powerhouse that you would say like an SEC school is. You could potentially be finding a path for Boise State to work their way into the national championship game.
Very interesting to me. Ohio State, the committee has ranked higher than Georgia, but obviously because Ohio State in this is not the conference winner, they have to put them at number 5. But that's very interesting to see that they just have them a notch under Oregon, but above Georgia. And I mean, realistically, Georgia does have its faults, and we've seen them not really put games together where they have a spectacular half on the second half of Bama, but the first half is really what kind of puts them at that number 3 spot. The one that, like, again, spot could be up for grabs. Notre Dame. If Notre Dame loses to Army and Army wins the American, that could be a spot where Army sneaks into the college football playoff.
Yeah, and potentially, I think a team that could be the biggest pretender on the list, number 3 Miami right here. They've struggled against lesser opponents this year at times. They should have 2 or 3 losses on their belt already, but things broke their way. They are a resilient team who comes back at the end, but I've seen slow starts. I've seen Cam Ward make bad play after bad play, and he just comes right back and does it. But at the same time, he has a little bit of that Jimmy Garoppolo in him where there's going to be 2 or 3 plays where it's like, what the fuck are we doing? He's going to make a terrible decision and give the defense a chance. So I want to see, can they, first of all, win the ACC? And second of all, beat a school like Bama, Texas, Georgia, even Penn State?
Well, I mean, realistically, that's where they were shitting bricks against Louisville. They felt like, hey, we probably won't win the ACC championship, or there's a good chance that we don't win this. And if so, we don't have the strength of schedule to get into this playoff. I feel like between the Big 12 and the ACC, I said this on the last college episode that I did, we have the potential. I know people are like, oh, okay, well, it makes sense that half of these teams are Big 10 and SEC. Those are the 2 conferences that really matter. But in the ACC and the Big 12, we have 2 teams that have been ranked really high. Miami, the whole year. BYU, a good portion of this year, has been ranked. If those 2 go out there and lose in their conference championship games, which could happen, there is a path for BYU to get beat. We've seen it before. They had a last-second win. Miami has looked like shit multiple times this year. We know they have the ability to be beat. If they go out there and get beat in this championship game, either one of those, that is an extra team that was not expecting to be in this playoff. Do you then just wipe Miami off the board and be like, hey, we got to? Or do you then put in the SMU of the season? Or let's say, crazy scenario here, What if both of them, BYU and Miami, lose? What do you do if you're the committee? Do we then just, again, wipe them off the board because we have automatic bids? Or do we then lower the amount of SEC and Big Ten teams? So I
And
think there's a potential for chaos.
and this is why I was excited about a 12-team playoff, because all of these teams have different scenarios and different storylines going on that could work in their favor or against it. And then you make the regular season matter that much more. And now you have teams like Boise, Indiana, SMU, Pittsburgh fighting for spots inside this playoff, to where it's not just a meaningless bowl game anymore. It's a game that could drastically change the direction of your program. So, what do you think about a team like, let's say, Boise State is already in this picture right here? Maybe, in the past, they would not get a shot like this. But what does it mean that a school like this could potentially show out on a big stage like that?
I think the fact that they have Ashton Genty is really helping them propel them forward. Obviously, we do need a group of five representation on here. They're the best group of five team. It could have easily, if it swung another way, could have been UNLV at some point. But I feel really good about that. There's a couple of teams that are like really creeping up in this that have the chance to really make a big splash in here. Do I see them winning the championship and competing with any of these top ranked teams? No, but do I like them given the opportunity? 100%. Yes. I think that's fun. I think this is 100% where college football should have gone.
But do you think it's getting more of an even playing field in the NIL, or we got a bunch of TCU level games about to happen in this playoff?
I think this first year we're going to see some blowouts. If I'm going to be completely honest, I think that realistically, the ACC, the Big 12, the Group of Five schools do not have a chance in this. But as we're starting to see this more and more, I think that more talent is going to be dispersed. And I think we're done seeing the teams that were ultra like dominant and had the depth. And Kirby Smart even talked about this early this year, where he was like, we just don't have the depth that we had before. And that's because guys are not sitting on the bench and waiting for their turn at Georgia. They're going to go and play for Vanderbilt. They're going to go play at some other school, that UNLV, where they will get money, they will get playing time, and we will showcase what we can do. And then we might come back to a big SEC or Big Ten school. But for now, we're going to go out and play, because playing matters more right now, because we can maximize these next 4 years. And realistically, we would still have a shot of being really good. Look at Ashton Genty. If you're a kid that's like, okay, deciding where to go, you can go to a really good Group of Five program and have a real shot at making it into the college football playoffs and getting into being a household name.
Now, this is going to be a dangerous question here as we wrap up the playoff bracket. Who is your pick to win out of this group right now? And I'm going to throw mine out there, and it's going to be kind of crazy, but I choose Indiana right now. I haven't seen them have a lot of weaknesses. I'm all for the Coach Sig vibes. And then my backup, I know they looked bad, but I feel like they could shake it off and come back with some confidence. Texas would be my number 2. So I'm going outside the box here.
Realistically, so I said before, Bama is the most likely to be out because they have a huge matchup this week with LSU. The narrative is already being spun on Indiana. They're already saying that they have the worst schedule out of everybody on here, and it's not even close. They have, like, I believe it's 103rd strength of schedule. The next one up is 75. So they have a much worse schedule than everybody else on this. They've been dominating, but if they go out there and they get smoked by Ohio State, I think they get left off this bracket. I think another team gets key. So you have that. Like, okay, as far as who's going to win it, I have a hard time moving away from Georgia. I mean, realistically, we haven't seen them put together a full game, but the halves that they've shown where they've been dominant, I mean, look at what they've done. You know what I mean? So I know there's weaknesses, but they have the pedigree. They have the team. I feel like that's a safe safe money bet to be Georgia. My dark horse, realistically, it could be Penn State.
I was about to say you're going to choose Penn State. You're a Penn State guy.
I
Whatever
like
whatever
Penn
that
State.
means.
I think that they have a really good defense. If they could just get something going on offense when needed, this defense can carry. This defense can put it out there on the line. They are championship caliber. They need Drew Aller to go out there and put points on the board and back them up. But if they can do that, that's huge.
I could actually see that happening too. Penn State, the defense is amazing. If they can get things to fall their way on the offensive side of the ball, I totally can see that happening. Georgia, I think we're kind of forgetting they came to the season looking like the most dominant team in college football, and at times they've looked like that. Are we disrespecting Oregon? Is no
100%.
no one believing in Oregon?
No,
I don't believe in Dylan Gabriel enough to win the playoff against all these teams.
I mean, obviously they are the best team this year, but it's not by a huge margin, if that makes sense. We've seen what they did against Ohio State, and that's with leaving multiple scoring opportunities on the board. So they should have won by more. I don't know. Like, I get what Dan Lanning is. He's a good coach, but we've only seen a handful. I think it's 3 coaches in college football now that have won a national championship. So can he cement his legacy? We'll see. I just don't know about Oregon in these type of environments. This coach, this team in this environment, I'm just not sure.
I'm not either. Well, that's all we're going to do for the playoff bracket. Make sure we watch our other video with our college football rankings. We're going to go through 1 through 25. So make sure you subscribe, like, and comment, and we'll see you on that video.
Later.